Good day everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel for more module videos regarding the criminologist licensure examination. Kindly click the subscription button and enjoy. Thank you. Good day everyone. Welcome back to the continuation of our discussions about hurdling the criminologist licensure examination. Before anything else, allow me to greet all criminology students, graduates, and reviewees in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And for those who are practicing our profession in the academy, in the field of law enforcement and public safety, naway nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan sa oras na ito. This module, the second module, is all about the importance of knowing the multiple choice question and the parts of the multiple choice question. Of course, the general types and specific types of multiple choice question according to the level of difficulties and construction are the main topics for this module. Thank you. In assessing the examinee's learnings and capabilities, most of the licensure examination, particularly the criminologist licensure examination, the type of examination used is the multiple choice question or MCQ. MCQ was developed by Benjamin D. Wood, an American educator, researcher, and director through his journal article entitled Measurement of College Work, which was published in 1921. MCQ is an objective type of examination that is widely used in the licensure examination, college and universities, entrance examination, elementary and high school achievement tests or assessment tests, and even final examinations. The purpose of MCQ is to measure the learner's knowledge of subject matter, reading comprehension abilities, and practical application. The first purpose of this MCQ, the knowledge of subject matter, the exam measures how far the examinee knew about the subject matter. And the second is the ability of the examinee to read and understand the questions. And lastly, to apply those theories, principles, and procedures practically. The multiple choice question or MCQ is composed of the following structure. First is the stem. The stem is the question that may commence from any of the proving questions, the 5 W's and 1 H, or determiner, term, the, or conjunctions such as if, and the likes. The stem is the starting part of the question that presents the item as a problem to be solved, a question asked, or an incomplete statement to be completed. Included also are other relevant informations. Generally, the stem is composed of key words or key phrases. This is also known as important words that when eliminated or removed or changed, it alters the concept or meaning of the sentence. The second part or structure of the multiple choice question are the options. Options are also called as choices. Most of the time, there are four options from where the examinee will choose from. There are two types of options, the key answer and the distractors. The key answer is always the correct answer, while the distractors are the wrong answers. Distractors are placed to measure whether the examinee will notice the differences by understanding the question. Take note that, numerically speaking, 75% of the choices are wrong, while 25% of the choices is correct, meaning there is a higher possibility that the examinee will choose wrong answer. So before answering the question, the examinee must read the question comprehensively and analyze it before answering. There are four general types of questions. First is the odd one out. Second is the negative question type. Third is the best answer type. And the fourth is the multiple answer and combined response. The odd one out question is a type of multiple choice question where the answer must fit or does not match with other answers. This type of test will measure the ability of the examinees to analyze and recall information. The item is usually starts with facts and later the question that commences with the word which. The above item is the best example of the odd one out question. Allow me to read. Among the parts and controls of a camera, which is the most important mechanism? A. Focusing ring. B. Shutter. C. Diaphragm. D. Focusing control. Take note that the facts included are among the parts and controls of the camera. So the choices are the parts and controls of the camera. But the question is looking for the most important mechanism of the camera. So focusing ring, actually that is a mechanism. A focusing ring allows the photographer to set the camera in focus. Second is the shutter. Shutter is, of course, a part actually, and it is just controlled by the shutter release button. So your shutter is the door, and the diaphragm is also a part of the camera. So the diaphragm is the window of your camera. So the last one is the focusing control. So take note, the answer here as the most important mechanism of the camera is your focusing control, letter D. The negative question type measures whether the examinee understood the question after reading it. The examinee must be aware of this item because it requires negative or incorrect answers. The following word must be noted such as except, false, and untrue. The item above is the best example of a negative question type. Allow me to read the question. Which among statement about crime is untrue? A. Crime is a social phenomenon. B. Crime is a self-defense. C. Crime is a violation of social norms. D. Crime is punishable by law. Going back to the definition of crime and the principles in understanding and explaining crime. Crime is considered as a social phenomenon. At the same time, crime is defined as an act or omission in violation of law forbidding or commanding it. So, the question is, which among statement about crime is untrue? Take note that we are looking for a negative answer. So letter A is a correct one, positive one. C is correct one, positive one. Letter D is correct one also and a positive one. While letter B is a negative or untrue statement regarding crime. Crime is not a self-defense. Crime is an act in violation of law forbidding or commanding it. Best answer type is the most difficult type of multiple choice question because it requires analytical and critical thinking skills. The examinee must understand the question because there might be more than one answer that seems correct, but the examinee must look for the best one, identifying the key words and or phrases is the best technique to employ in order to answer this type of question? The above item is the best example for the best answer type. Allow me to read the question. The Latin term corpus delicti is best described as A. Body of the crime, B. Punishment that one deserves, C. Petition of proceeding no further in a lawsuit, D. Fundamental facts of the existence of the crime. So A. Body of the crime, of course, that is a misnomer for everyone. Corpus delicti, if translated in English, it means body of the crime. But we are looking for best description of the Latin term corpus delicti. So letter A, body of the crime, is wrong because it is a translation, not a description. So letter B, punishment that one deserves. So that is not the correct answer because it means in Latin just desert. So punishment that one deserves in Latin is just desert. So letter C, petition of proceeding no further in a lawsuit is not also the answer because in Latin it is nolle prosequi. So the best answer here is letter D. Corpus delicti is the fundamental facts on the existence of crime. The multiple answer and combined response. To this type of question, the examinee needs critical thinking skills and recollection of previous knowledge. In the multiple answer, there are two or more correct answers and the examinee must select all of the correct choices. The item above is the best example of a multiple answer question. Allow me to read the question. Which among the choices are the elements of fire? A. Fuel, B. Heat, C. Flame, D. A and B. From the choices, going back to the elements of fire, the following are the elements of fire: fuel, heat, and oxygen. So A and B are the elements of fire. So C actually is not an element of fire but a byproduct of fire. And D, the choices A and B are correct. So the best answer here is letter D, A and B. To answer the examination correctly, the examinees must know about the specific types of MCQ questions according to construction and level of difficulties. There are three specific types of multiple choice questions according to the construction and level of difficulties. First is the direct question. Second is the indirect question. And the third is the situation-based question. The direct question is considered as an easy question, while the indirect question is considered as the moderate question, and the situated or situation-based question is the hard question. The direct question starts with any of the proving questions. The proving questions starts with the 5 W's and what H. So what, who, when, where, why, and how. What answers the queries on facts of the case, while who answers the queries on the persons involved, when, the time that the incident took place, where, the place of the commission of the crime, why, the reason or cause of the acts, and how, the ways and steps of performing an act. The item above is the best example of direct question. Allow me to read the question and the choices. What part of the camera that allows the light to enter through the lens in a predetermined time interval? A. Lens, B. Viewfinder, C. Diaphragm, D. Shutter. So after reading the question and analyzing the same, so we have to identify the keyword. The keywords are the following: the predetermined time interval. So we go to the choices. A, lens. Of course, that is not the answer because we do not use time interval in using or rotating the lens. So remove the lens. B, viewfinder. So viewfinder allows the photographer to focus the object he wished to photograph. So remove that. Letter B. C, diaphragm. Diaphragm is the window of the camera. Diaphragm is the opening of the lens. So the opening of the lens refers to your aperture, and the aperture of the camera can be set through rotating the aperture ring. So setting the f numbers through the f stops. So remove that choices. So letter D. The answer is letter D. Shutter is the door of the camera which uses time interval in order to allow the light to enter through the lens. So the shutter can be controlled by the shutter release button. So one press of the shutter release button, it allows the shutter to move. So 1:100, meaning one press of the shutter release button, 100 seconds or 0.01 second of time interval. The indirect question usually commences with the determiner the and sometimes with the conjunction if. The item above is a best example of indirect question. Allow me to read the question and the choices. The component of a polygraph instrument which records the blood pressure and the pulse rate of the subject. A. Cardiospermograph. B. Pneumograph. C. Galvanograph. D. Chemograph. So, basing from the question, the keyword or keywords are records blood pressure and pulse rate. So the best answer here is letter A. Why? Because letter A, cardiospermograph records the blood pressure and the pulse rate of the subject, while pneumograph is just recording the breathing of the subject. The galvanograph records the skin resistance of the subject, and the chemograph is the motor that pulls the paper in constant speed. Again, the best answer here is letter A, cardiospermograph. Situation-based question is a type of question that involves problem solving and handling difficult issues. The situation-based question is composed of two or more sentences, where one is the problem or the question to be answered, and the remaining sentence are facts and situations. The above item is the best example of situation-based question. Allow me to read the question and the choices. Rico stabbed Andy. Few hours later, the former talked to the latter's mother and explained the incident. The former identified to the latter's mother all the things that the latter committed against him. The situation is best described the theory of A. Differential identification, B. Social learning, C. Neutralization, D. Gang theory. Okay, so based on the situation, the former who stabbed the latter, Rico, who stabbed the Andy, explained the circumstances surrounding the incident. So the best answer here is neutralization theory. Neutralization is justifying, explaining, or rationalizing the acts in order to neutralize the incident or the feelings of the offended party. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you learned a lot. Always remember, knowledge is power.